again. Today's video is a short follow-on from previous video, which was all about reducing the amount that we use our eyes so that we can get much better feedback from our feet and from our legs and make our balance much safer and make us feel much more confident with our balance. So in previous videos I've talked about us having a dominating leg, maybe a leg that we prefer to stand on and listen to. With me, it tends to be my right leg, but I've worked quite hard to try and make that even. It's really important not to have a complete, it doesn't have to be exactly symmetrical, our system, it isn't of course, but if we've got a dominant side that we like to lean on and listen to a lot, that means that we have a side that we're not listening to terribly well. And it tends to be that if we have a trip or a fall, it will be that foot which has let us down. That one that becomes injured. Quite often people tend to have a lot of injuries all down one side, and that is often because they have a system which isn't completely listened to. So for me, I've got a slightly slow left leg in terms of the way it communicates, and so that means that if I catch that foot, I'm more likely to have a tumble than I am if I catch my right foot, which my brain has become very good at communicating with. So that's it in a simplified form. And of course, the more we use something, the more efficient we get at using it. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. The less we use it, the less we communicate with it, the less effective that becomes. So it's quite important that we notice these things, and I do share this around with my friends. I think it's quite important that we try and keep ourselves as even as possible. We don't suddenly wake up when we're elderly, woke up one morning and we're lopsided. That started, probably that process, maybe when we've had an injury, or it might just be something that's become a habit within us, and it started from, say, in our 20s. So this exercise is designed to help you work out, if you don't already know, which is the leg that you prefer to listen to, and which is the leg which doesn't get listened to as much. So the exercise is following on from the one where we shut our eyes. I've come away from the table so that you can see my feet better. But of course, quite important that you do this with your hands and facing the surface that you're going to face. But for the purposes of me explaining, I'm going to face outwards. Okay, so it's just the closing of eyes. So start off, as with everything, every time you get up, if you can, if you're not in a hurry to get, say, to the toilet or something, just spend a little bit of time communicating with your feet and grounding yourself. That will mean that whenever you walk, you'll be much safer and much more effective in any of the balance systems that you need. And the whole goal is to make it so that you feel confident, that you can trust your balance systems. So begin by grounding yourself, finding your heels on the floor, fronts of your feet, toes, outside border, inside border. Say hello to your left leg, hello to your right leg. You might like to do that with your hands still on the surface. Ideally, if you can, do it without your hands on, because it improves the amount that you pay attention to your feet. So just begin with a little gentle sway like that. Put your hands back on the surface, close your eyes, and then if that feels okay, lift your hands from the surface. Just pay attention to that. Now what you might find with doing this way is that you might immediately be able to know, ooh, yeah, actually I can't feel my left leg, or I don't feel as happy going over to the left as I do when I go over to the right. which one is the one that you want to go towards. That's your dominant leg. And I'm not using dominant as in terms of handed, I'm very left-handed, but I mean it as in terms of the one that your brain mostly listens to. So have a sway with your eyes shut and see if you can work that out. If you've got pretty good balance, what you can do is to move on from there, is standing on one leg with your eyes shut. And then standing on the other. I don't know whether you could see that in the video, but I'm much happier coming onto my right leg than I am onto my left. But that has greatly improved over time. So there's just a little exercise that you can do, either with your hands on or hands off. It's much more effective at getting the feedback with your hands off, but of course I want you to stay within your boundaries and stay within what feels nice. So that's a little exercise to discover which of your legs is the one that you listen to the most. And then use that as a guide for yourself as to noticing then, maybe when you're doing the washing up, when you're cleaning your teeth. And what I want you to do is, like I'm doing on a regular basis, is I want you to spend more time on that non-dominant leg, the leg we tend not to listen to. Now, if you had a stroke or have got multiple sclerosis or any of the neurological diseases that tend to make us even more less symmetrical, then this is a great exercise for you to, and you will already know, you don't need to do the closed eyes exercise as to which is your dominant leg. If you already know that, then it's really important to make sure you spend quite a bit of time talking to that leg. You can do it in sitting, where you're putting a little bit more weight through it, where you're paying just much more attention to that foot, if you've got some sensation in it. But it's a really good exercise to even you up. It's also very nice for the back, because the back, of course, if we're spending a lot of time stood on one leg, it makes our back much more asymmetrical, and it means that one set of muscles is being overused and perhaps becoming quite tight, and the other set of muscles, of course, become weaker or become inefficiently used. So just as a recap, this is an exercise where you're closing your eyes and you're trying to work out which is the leg that you tend to listen to the most, which is the leg which you're perhaps ignoring unintentionally. And so the exercise from then on is to spend a little bit more time where you're weight bearing, or where you're leaning on the other leg. Don't overdo it. If we spent many years over here and we suddenly spend a lot of time over there, you could create some pain. But just very gradually become aware of that. Try and even it out in a gentle, soft, kind way, so that you're working towards an evenness of balance and an evenness throughout your whole system. Thank you for joining me again today. More another day.